The Mount Kenya script that Kenya Kwanza piloted in the last general election, I need to repeat, and I want to repeat in this podcast, cannot succeed in Luo Nyanza. The dynamics are different. And trying to replicate the Nyanza script in the Mount Kenya script in Nyanza is what I can describe as a scarcity of creativity. There is scarcity, I don't know that it needs creativity or ideology. Scarcity of ideology. Because even in Mount Kenya, it has failed. It has literally failed. What am I talking about? Owalo, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Information and Technology, ICT, has been leading a delegation of head of parastatals from Luo Nyanza that seems now to be working on the UDA political agenda in Nyanza. And recently, there was an event that was organized in Rongo. And this event was targeting allegedly some 500 women from the four Nyanza counties, that is Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, and Homabay, targeting from the four counties. And I listened to what Owalo explained about it, and I wanted to get that here.
Today we are having this women empowerment program for Homabay County women. We have had here about women leaders representing about 650 women groups. This is a culmination of an initiative that we introduced in the Nyanza region about 1.5 months ago, targeting women spread all over the four counties of Siaya, Kisumu, Homabay, and Migori. The purpose of this meeting, of sensitizations, is to ensure that all women who are involved in itinerary trade are empowered or sensitized in two perspectives. One, the funding opportunities which are available within the Kenya Kwanza government. And two, how they can access those funds. We have got many funds which have been introduced by the Kenya Kwanza government. Starting with the Hustler Fund, there is the Women Empowerment Fund, there is the Uwezo Fund. But we realize that most of our women still don't even know the funds which exist, or if they know, they don't know how to access those funds. So this is just but the first phase of the Women Empowerment Program. Some of the sensitization programs that we undertook earlier on, like in Siaya and Migori, those women today have either constituted themselves already into cooperative societies, or they are already accessing the funds. In Migori, for example, I'm told by one of the cooperative officers that they have already constituted a women group consisting of 800 members. And they have subsequently linked up those women with those responsible for the Hustler Fund. So this is going to be a game changer for our women, because we want women to be involved in gainful economic activity. In this region, we have said that we are going to change the paradigm from politics of rhetoric to politics of empowerment. We are doing it for the women, we are going to do it for the youth, and then we go to all other stakeholder segments. We are appealing in the same vein for people from this region to align effectively with the Kenya Kwanza government under the tutelage and leadership of His Excellency the President. We are appealing to our people to create.
Now, I've been following that political development. This group of women, and that's not the first one because they have also been meeting in Siaya. This group has been mobilized on some political mission. And this is the script that was used in Mount Kenya, because to what Kenya Kwanza did, they used the church, they actually went to church and organized, capitalized on the women groupings in Mount Kenya. And after coming up with those groupings, they were given the yellow UDA colors. They were moving with Rigathi Gachagua from one political rally to the other, especially in the Mount Kenya region. And recently I was in Nyeri and I asked, and someone was telling me that since that general election, they've never been seen. Of course, there were tokens that they were given to a point, some donations here and there. And so, but even after that, after election, there seems to be the structure collapsed, and the structure is nowhere in the picture. And so, this is what is being implemented in Nyanza. Exclusively, I tried to speak to some journalists who actually attended the event, covered that event. And one thing, some few questions I've always asked here is, Oduor is a cabinet secretary in charge of ICT. How is the capacity, what is his capacity on actually conducting such a training? These women are being trained on how to access government projects. Of course, this is something that is here. And there have been gaps in the information access. There was no single representation from Uwezo Fund. There was no single representation from the Ministry of SMEs, that is from Chelugoi. And there was no representation from the GAF office, or rather the women rep of Homabay. So what happened here is one speaker after the other was just singing and telling these women about how they need to support Kenya Kwanza, because through Kenya Kwanza they can get the support, or they can get the finances. And it was all about Raila did this and Raila did that. In fact, it became a political theater. To cap it all, there was a story that some gentlemen even tear-gassed them. And, you know, they were trying to blame on the ODM politicians in the region to have marshaled some 4 boys, some 4 gentlemen, rogue men to go and attack and be taken. And those were, and of course there was someone pointing at Raila and I said, I don't think Raila is beyond that. Raila is beyond that. That is a bit petty. Number 2, Raila has never had an altercation against Oduor. He's never responding to Oduor, by the way. You realize he's been keen on other things, but not other politicians, but not Oduor. So even an attempt to do that, to paint that as if some people are against him, did not succeed. And when Owalo came out to respond, he didn't even mention about the said incident. So these are a group of people who could not even address a rally in Nyanza when they accompanied William Ruto there. They were heckled down and chased from the podium alongside William Ruto. But then there seems to be some political mobilization strategy that is going on. And recently there was an office of UDA that was opened in Kisumu, some makeshift office was opened in Kisumu. And that is the one you can see there. During William Ruto's tour in Homabay, there was also UDA office that was opened there. William Ruto was there when they opened another UDA office. And some people had been asking why the president and the UDA party would actually rush to put an office in an area that they don't have a very big support base. While in Rift Valley and Central Kenya, where they have a support base, there is only one office of UDA that has been opened, that was opened in Nyeri. And after that, there is no any other office of UDA that has been opened in another county. There is no UDA office in Rift Valley. There is no UDA office in Meru that has been opened. But then, there was a rush to go and launch some UDA offices in Nyanza. So, this is a political strategy of dragging the Mama Mboga story into the picture. I don't think the Mama Mboga story will succeed in 2027. And especially in Nyanza, the politics are a bit dynamic because the dynamics are a bit different. Because even as we talk now, the country is complaining that the hustler agenda became one of the legendary lie that the politicians sold to Kenyans. But then, I want to say why the Nyanza dynamics are a bit different. The church network is not highly politically aligned like Mount Kenya. The network that William Ruto used to sanitize and entrench himself in the Mount Kenya region was the clergy. Now, in Nyanza, we have SDA, especially the South Nyanza, there is SDA. And SDA is not highly politically aligned. They're not so much entertained by Mr. Politician. And you realize that Raila has been campaigning. You will realize that he's never attended, even when he was campaigning. He's never had that church platform, especially in Nyanza. So that network is not here. So without that network, because it is in a church that people are hoodwinked. You know, in a church you can't ask question whether this is right or this is wrong. But on Nyanza, that network is not politically aligned. And again, I think it works against, that spirit cannot work because of how Mount Kenya leaders have been politically profiling the community. To date, Rigathi Gachagua will still find time to profile Raila Odinga. When there was a protest in this country, the community that was targeted was Luo Nyanza. And the scenes of what happened in ODM strongholds in the Luo Nyanza and even some parts of the Nairobi here is something that you cannot even like, you cannot even want your enemy to go through. So that is still there. And there is no way now there can be an overnight success that people can forget that, you know what, this happened, but then this needs to be done. So that script cannot work because the same fellows that we want to use, the leaders that we want to use, they did not fight for community. One of the things that has made Raila and Uhuru, and I want to say Uhuru, and I think even Ruto might have suffered through this at one point, gone through this at one point. But remember, in 2007, Kikuis normally celebrate Uhuru Kenyatta for defending them. Yes. That Uhuru Kenyatta came out personally to defend his community. In many instances, that Raila has come out to defend the Luo community. So, and of course, with the Luo, it has been a story about many others that haven't come then to defend for the interest of the community. Now in there, these leaders, there is nothing striking about them. The other aspect is, if Raila is not leaving the political space, then it's still going to be a nightmare. You know, it was easy in Mount Kenya because Uhuru Kenyatta was making an exit. Now, if Raila doesn't make an exit early before 2027, then this script will fail flat. Because with that, the political antagonism and the failures that Kenya Kwanza is actually now people feeling and making, there is something that is still not there. Lastly, it does not take whatever level of resources you put in political mobilization or how many party offices you open. What it will take is the impact of government on the people. The impact of Kenya Kwanza. The effect is what will determine the direction that the country will take. Thank you.